discussion. It is a political season of defections, as our senior political reporter Chris Tairo was reporting earlier on the broadcast. And I have with me, of course, several leaders have been decamping. The latest ones have been decamping from the Jubilee Party to ODM, one today, and several others, including the Senator of Embu County, that is Lenny Kivuti, decamping to the Maendeleo Chap Party, and they will be received, all those who decamp to that party, by the party leader tomorrow on Monday. I have with me in studio Dr. Kilemi Mwiria, the advisor to the President Uhuru Kenyatta on matters education, who will be gunning for the governorship of Meru County on a Maendeleo Chap party tickets in less than 7 months. We also have Dr. Ongeti here, governance expert, to just help us put perspective into these issues. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the program.
Well, thank you.
Dr. You vied in 2013 on a TNA ticket.
Yes.
You have had very cordial relations with Jubilee,
yes.
Serving as his advisor, President Uhuru Kenyatta's advisor in matters education. Why now, and why decamp from Jubilee?
Well, you know, first let me make it very clear that I have no quarrel with the president. And even when I defected, I made it very clear that I will support the president, Uhuru Kenyatta. I have a problem with Jubilee because of issues related to how the party is being managed, especially in Meru. A lot of people know that there can't be any fairness in the nomination process because the key officials of the political party are supporters of one of the governor candidates, Honorable Kilemi Mwiria. But also, you know, there are many other issues that are undercurrent. But more importantly, you know, I was also unfortunate as those circumstances are, I'm also attracted by a political party that I think represents a lot of what I believe in. Believes in peace, you know, in development, issue-based politics, inclusiveness. It's not a tribal party. And the best example is that Mutua himself has resigned to, you know, take the bullet, you know, coming from Ukambani to form a party that does not go along with what people would expect in Ukambani. So the main thing is, you know, there are problems in the party organization in Meru that make me feel that I would not have a good chance. I would not have a fair chance to compete. But fortunately, I am going to a political party that makes me, you know, happy that, you know, even if I'm not in Jubilee.
All right.
Yes.
Let me take you back. What is so bad, potentially, according to you, with the Jubilee Party in Meru?
Well, let me explain.
Yes.
First, you know, one of the candidates for governor, Honorable Kilemi Mwiria,
yes,
used to belong to a party called the BAS, you know, APK.
Right.
Now, 4 of the 5 main officials in the Meru JP branch are supporters of Kilemi. The chairman of, for example, the chairman of Jubilee in Meru was the chairman of the BAS, of APK. The Secretary General, who is actually more or less of a, you know, a great praise singer of, you know, Kilemi,
right,
was the Secretary General of APK, and is in fact is a nominated member of the county parliament, MCA, which is also against the rules.
Right.
So this is just an example. I mean, you know, if you have officials like those supporting one of the candidates, it's like, you know, the referee is already on the side of one of my competitors.
We shall be getting a comment from one of them shortly. But Dr. What is your analysis of these defections? You know, the rationale behind, for example, what Dr. is telling us about his defection from Jubilee.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you for having me here. I think this was expected. Remember that Jubilee is just about 3, 4, 5, or thereabout months old. And so, as analysts, we projected that this would happen because of the group dynamics. It is the normal cycle of group and group formation and group processes that happens. That during the formation of Jubilee, you saw at Kasarani, there were all the niceties, people were good to each other and so forth. But remember, the party was bringing together leaders from other parties and bringing together around 11 or so political parties. Somebody who had been a party leader in one place was just coming into this formation without a very clear position. Somebody who was a chairman, a secretary who had the pen to sign certificates was now coming to the new party without clearly knowing where they were going to fit in. And so it was expected. Where we sit now is the storming stage of Jubilee. People are now trying to get their space. Those who cannot sustain the storm like Daktari here would automatically be jumping out of the ship. And definitely then after that, Jubilee will remain with those who can and then norm in that particular party. So it is a normal cycle. Of course, it has been exacerbated by the fact that Jubilee has taken a little bit longer to streamline its structures.
Right.
And those who actually participated in the formation of the party, the likes of Kiraitu, may have, in the perception of the others, taken some higher pedestal in the party and influenced positioning and so forth.
All right, Daktari, some people would say, maybe your critics, they would say that maybe you're afraid of competition from that larger Jubilee party. What would you say to that?
Yes. I've never been afraid, of a competition. And remember, we can go to politics. We can go to contest for seats of members of parliament or governor or senate, knowing that we'll have to face competition. And, and you either win or lose. So that is not the problem. The problem is you cannot go to a competition. You can't go to play, in a football game if you know the referee is already biased against you. So the problem is the machinery that is on the ground in Meru. Right. That is the problem. I am going to compete with them anyway. In the ballot.
In the general
so
election.
I can't run away from the competition. It is the problem. And even my own supporters, everybody could see through this. In fact, many of my supporters had said they will not even bother, participating in the nomination because they know it's a waste of time.
Okay.
So it was that bad.
All right. Let's narrow down to this issue of Meru because you're here tonight with us. Let's now bring in via the telephone. Let's talk to the Secretary General of Jubilee in the county of Meru. That is Haji Mwenda. Bwana Mwenda, good evening. Mr. Mwenda, if you can hear us. You have been, your party, especially, good evening, your party, especially in the county of Meru, has been mentioned adversely. What do you say to these allegations of the fact that you can't be able to be fair or to have a level playing field? What do you say to those allegations? All right, sir, well, Secretary General, if you can just lower the volume, if you can just turn off your TV set, then we shall be able to communicate with you. Shall be trying to get in touch with the Secretary General. I don't know if you can hear me. Bwana Mwenda, can you hear me?
It's got no idea.
All right, we'll try to go back to Mr. Mwenda to just get some clarifications on that particular point, especially what is happening in the county of Meru. Let's come back to what Dr. Ye was saying about this. Was this just a matter of time before it happens, Dr. Kilemi Mwiria, that a fallout of some kind was expected and it is coming to pass?
Well, yeah, I completely agree. And I knew, I must say, I knew from the beginning, and I said it before, that the moment you bring so many political parties together, and then you don't allow any opportunity, the constitutional right to move to another party if you are defeated, especially if you are defeated unfairly, you would expect that people would be afraid. So there are two reasons. First is one where you think, the competition may not be fair. But secondly, there are people who also believe they don't see any reason why they should go through two elections, a nomination, which is expensive, and then go to the final ballot. And you're better off if you are going to be involved in a context. I think if you have a chance to go to the final ballot, you feel much more confident. So if you lose at that point, then you know it's the people that rejected you. But if you lose at the nomination, there are many other games. I don't know, from the days of Kanu, to the days of PNU with Kibaki. I do not know, or or with even with the CORD and ODM nominations, I don't know any political party in this country, you can say since the 70s, where nominations have been said to be completely fair, free and fair.
Many people say that elections are won at the nomination stage. Dr. Is nomination, the party primaries, important?
Yes, it will be very, very important, especially where you are looking at strongholds of these political parties. But before, Ben, I go there, allow me to say this, that these small parties that are coming in, like Maendeleo, Chap and so forth, and initially they moved to even amalgamate and put them together into merge into one political party, was a strategic move that was not very well advised at that particular time from Jubilee. Because there are some areas in this country where people like relating to parties that are localized. And it's a global phenomenon that today trade is more localized as much as it is global in nature. And so even when it comes to political parties in this country, we are still getting to that level where people want to relate to a chairman whom they know, who is just within that particular area. And that is why you're seeing Mheshimiwa going to a party that is sort of Eastern-oriented, as much as he will tell us that there are some issues, or the manifesto is one thing that he believes in. But it is anchored on the fact that it has some regional component to it. And so you want to have parties which are like fighter brands. In marketing, we'll call it that way, that can fight at that particular level. And so nominations, back to your question, Ben, is in some of these areas, once you go through nomination, and these will be the strongholds, like in ODM strongholds, in some Jubilee areas, you are almost as if you've gone through parliament, or if it's a gubernatorial seat, you'll have almost automatically won. But of course, then the process of how that nomination will take place I think that is the area where there's much more concern, and now made worse by the law, which requires that you must be within that party and you cannot resign immediately after nomination. That's why the people are leaving.
I want to talk about how he's going to popularize Maendeleo Chap in Meru. But before then, you have moved to Wiper. The governor, the chairman of the Council of Governors, Peter Mwiria, the Meru governor, will be defending his seats using another party, that is PNU. Is that a trend? Why is that trend there? Yet the Jubilee Party has assured people, especially in Meru, that the nominations will be fair.
Well, you know, I mean, Peter Mwiria was one of the first ones to actually say he will not be in Jubilee. He was going to be organized the way he was going to be organized. And that's why he went to PNU, because he knew, he said he was not going to lead himself to, you know, to a butchery, you know. He could see it. So already, you know, the signs were there. It's the same case with me. Now, in terms of popularizing the party, yes, already Maendeleo is doing a great deal. They have employed a team of young people across the country. You know, it's not just, you know, across the country, young people who are popularizing the party and recruiting members. They are also, you know, popularizing the party to potential aspirants, MCAs, members of parliament, senators, and governors. And they are doing it very, very aggressively. But what I like the most is that they are finding ways of identifying those members in ways that will make all the candidates, you know, feel content that they were not subjected to any biased process of nomination. For example, you know, if there are 3 or 4 candidates for an MCA position in Meru someplace, the first step is to try to reach some consensus on the, you know, ask the 3 candidates if they can, you know, agree that one of them be the candidate. Secondly, if that's not acceptable, then they can go to the process of doing some scientific research, you know, an opinion survey that gives an idea of who is more popular. And again, if the 2 candidates agree to that process, then whoever appears to be the most popular on the basis of some scientific, you know, opinion survey would be identified. If that fails, then there would be, you know, a nomination process.
All right. Fair enough. Let's now try to see if we can get in touch with Haji Mwenda, the Secretary General of Jubilee in the county of Meru. When Secretary General, can you hear us now?
I can.
All right. What do you say to these allegations, Dr. as they come to the Maendeleo Chap party, saying that there is no guarantee of a free and fair or level playing field when it comes to the party primaries? You're in the party hierarchy in Meru. What do you say to that?
Firstly, I have known Dr. Kilemi Mwiria for quite some time. He is my friend. I respect him as an academician. But before I even answer to those allegations, It is unfortunate that Kilemi Mwiria can use terms like a praise singer. The Secretary General is a praise singer. I am a person with my own intelligence, with my own knowledge, with my own principles. So, but I want to forgive him for that one. But what I want to say is it was not unexpected. The decamping of Dr. Kilemi Mwiria from Jubilee to Chap Chap was not unanticipated. It is something we anticipated because we are aware that Kilemi Mwiria would not wish to meet Kiraito in the nominations. And even when it comes to other MPs, those seeking MP positions, we are aware that most of them are going because the general feeling in most of these regions is, why do I do 2 campaigns? Why do I do a campaign for nomination, then after that campaign, do another campaign for election? Therefore, it is expected from most of these aspirants. Therefore, Kilemi Mwiria has just gotten an excuse to go to the ballot. It is not about unfair nominations because even nomination rules have not been unveiled.
Okay. Let me interrupt you and let him respond to that.
No. First of all, Haji Mwendia, if you didn't like my reference to you as a praise singer, I do apologize. But what I meant is that you are the greatest ambassador of Kiraito Moronge in Meru County. I mean, you are the one who sends his messages all over, and you have been going around the county saying why we should elect him. So, I mean, I think you are the most ardent supporter. You are also a Secretary General in APK. Again, it's an indication of how loyal you are to the man. Now, I did not leave Jubilee because I wanted to have because it's an excuse. In fact, there are a lot of my supporters, and in Meru generally, many people thought if I went to nomination with Kiraito Moronge, I would beat him. But they said it doesn't matter. Even if you beat him, he keeps on talking, or rather there is the implication that he's got the certificate already. So this is the problem. I would, in fact, have preferred to go to nomination because then, it would narrow the field to only one of us from Jubilee, Kiraito Moronge, and between Kiraito and myself, who would then square it out with the other candidates from the other political parties. It would be much easier. And like Dr. Ongeti said, if you win a nomination in Meru, in the party that is popular with the people, you are more or less guaranteed. So that would have been a much better route for me to go.
All right. Mr. Mwenda, what do you say to that? And also, is it a fact that the Meru, and maybe if this is replicated in Jubilee across other areas of the country, you are an official in APK, and is it a fact that the Jubilee party in Meru is dominated by former APK? Therefore, there's the feeling that the scales will be unfairly tilted towards the Meru senator.
Thank you so much. I was an official, I was the Secretary General in APK, and the chairman was also the chairman in APK. Our current treasurer was the Secretary General in TNA. Our current organizing secretary was the executive officer in TNA. Our first vice chairman or vice chairman programs was in URP. Another lady who is the women's leader was in URP. The lady who heads the women's league in Meru was in UDF. The young man who runs Meru as a youth leader was in ODM. Therefore,
but they're all important positions of chairman and secretary general are APK members.
What really happened, remember about 4 months ago, we were in Nairobi when we wrapped all these parties and formed the Jubilee. Therefore, when we went for elections in Meru, there was nothing like APK, there was nothing like TNA, there was nothing like URP. We went there as in Jubilee. And remember, even this time we were in APK, or others were in TNA, we were leaders. We were not made leaders on the day we went for elections in Meru. We were leaders, that is why we ran in APK, that is why others ran in TNA. And when we collapsed these parties and required new leadership, remember we had not lost capacity for leadership just because APK had collapsed or had been dissolved. Nor did anybody who was a leader in TNA lose that leadership because TNA had been dissolved. We all met together as leaders. And remember, 19 of us were taken into a room and told to come with a chairman. And the 19 decided to elect one Honorable Joseph Muturia, who was elected even in absentia.
All right.
And the people decided to elect Alohaji Mwiria as Secretary General because the 19 of them from different parties thought that Alohaji Mwiria would be best custodian for the party and the spokesman for the party. Therefore,
all right.
I don't believe I did a mistake by accepting the wishes of those people who are doing the elections.
All right.
Are you Honorable Kilemi Mwiria?
Yes.
I supported Kiraito Muronge because he was my candidate in APK when I was the Secretary General of APK. Just like I have an obligation now of support 3 candidates in Meru after nomination.
Are you guaranteeing all Jubilee aspirants of free and fair nominations in Meru specifically?
I am guaranteeing very free and fair nominations. Remember, even regulations on our nominations will be done are not yet out. And it has been suggested that we are also not going to do the nominations. There will be a nominations panel as per the constitution of the party,
all right,
in which the Secretary General is not a member.
But Dr. Do you believe
is the chairman a member?
Yeah, I can respond. Yeah, let me respond first. I think you pointed out that the most important positions in any in any leadership is the chairman and Secretary General. That's BX. And yet, even the regulations of Jubilee state that you can't have senior officials from just one party of the merging political parties. Secondly, apart from those two of the others, I think the treasurer and the organizing secretary are sympathizers. In fact, work with the politicians who are, allies of Kiraito Muronge.
All right.
Yeah. Thirdly, even the process of selecting, those officials. What happened is that the members of parliament selected identified nominees who are very much pro-Kiraito because they are working as a team. And similarly with the MCAs who are there. So when they went in, and very surprisingly, like the chairman, he was elected by 13 against 5, which was exactly the same number of votes for the secretary,
all right,
and some of the other key officials. So it's quite clear that,
Daktari, thank you very much, Bwana Secretary General. That was Haji Mwenda, Jubilee Secretary General, talking to us live on the phone from Meru. What do you say to how Jubilee, shared the leadership positions and vis-a-vis what's happening right now?
I think, Ben, what is emerging is that Jubilee struggled and still struggles with the structuring of the party. And this is something then that the party must be able to move with a lot of speed to ensure that the structuring is done properly. Because you remember at some point there were various positions of presidential campaign team across the country. Later on it was dissolved. And then now what is emerging at the regional level and so forth. So it is a high time that Jubilee puts its house in order to avoid having such kind of scenarios obtaining. Of course, one thing that then needs to happen is that there has been some linkage between the presidential elections and the presidential campaign team and aspirants. And so when there is that close proximity of the presidency with aspirants, then they seem to gain some mileage. And I've seen in some counties where a certain name is mentioned and that particular person keeps leveraging on the fact that they have a particular position and therefore they want to use it for their own campaign. And so Jubilee and any other party for that matter, so that we have a good, free and fair nomination and then elections thereafter, it is important that the structures are structures that are believable by members and structures that can be counted on during the entire process.
Let me say, yes. I want to, follow up on this and say that, the problem of politicians not believing the structure that is in place in Meru is evidenced by the fact that a lot of the key positions, in Jubilee are not, the candidates are not opposed. Honorable Kiraitu Murungi will not be opposed for chairman. Honorable Mitheka Lentore will not be opposed for senator. And the women representative also currently is not opposed. There are constituencies where there is only one candidate for member of parliament. Right. And there are others where there are no candidates or there are no ward candidates because they are afraid. Right. And normally you would expect a popular political party to attract a lot of competition. Right. Now it's the opposite. And in fact, the current structure of JP in Meru is actually killing the party. People are running away from Jubilee. Right. And it's a problem not just for candidates like myself, but it's also a problem for the president. Because if people lose faith in the outfit that you've got, then they are not likely to want to support the political party as enthusiastically as they would have. So it's a serious problem in Meru, I can tell you.
It's a team that has been mentioned, what you're talking about, Kikali, Kiraitu Linturi, and then the women rep Kajuju, Florence Kajuju. How are you going to beat that? And how are you going to sell Maendeleo Chap Chap in Meru?
Well, I'll tell you, Kikali, like you said, it stands for Kiraitu, Lentore, and Kajuju. Kiraitu, Kajuju, and Lentore. This is part of the problem. In fact, even before we started talking about Jubilee elections, they had formed themselves as a team. So already, Kiraitu Mwiria, when he was already an official in Jubilee, in the Lanja Jubilee, he already came and formed a team with him as the candidate for governor, with Mitheka Lentore as senator, and with Florence Kajuju as the women representative. So already, how can you compete with people who have already said this is our team? And remember, that time was the initial phase of the formation of the party. So it was already a very serious problem. But beating Kikali is not a problem. In fact, the reason Jubilee is losing in Meru is because of Kikali. Kikali is having a lot of problems. The people are running away from the party just because of that Kikali. Right. And I can tell you, I don't see that as a problem. In fact, I think the formation of Kikali is going to make it much easier for the competitors to deal with them.
Why do you say that?
Well, because of the unpopularity that goes with just the fact that they formed themselves into this Kikali. Right. And people are saying, forget Kikali.
All right. What is your take, very final comments on such a team? Should that be allowed to happen?
I mean, they have a freedom. Aspirants have freedoms to strategize in whatever formula that they want to. Yes. It is up to the responsibility of the party leaders to be able to be sure that such kind of formulations do not have an implication on party membership and other aspirants. So you will find all these formations across the country, and they are there, be it for Jubilee, be it Wiper, be it CORD, and whatever. But the point is that those who sit at the helm of these parties should be able to ensure that everybody is carried on board.
All right. What is your plan now moving forward? You joined Wiper. What's the plan?
No, I did. I joined Maendeleo.
Maendeleo. Yes. Chap Chap.
My plan is to go ahead, popularize my candidature. We'll be going to the grassroots in Meru. We'll try to recruit membership. We'll try to have as many MCAs, as we can. We hope nationally we'll have a substantial number of members of parliament so that they can be a truly national party. I respect the fact that, that the leadership of the party in Mutua is also a politician who is much more issue-oriented. Right. He's much more about development. He's not the kind of person you hear, talking, too much, like politicians are used to. So the very fact that you have that kind of leadership and who is also very professional, the organization of the party is extremely professional. I was very, very impressed when I went to their offices last week and saw the structures that they have put in place. Right. And the kinds of things they are promising, how they go about it. So I'm confident. I'm happy. I will get the support that I need, and so will many other candidates. So I'd like to take this opportunity to invite as many Kenyans as possible to join Maendeleo Chap Chap, in various capacities, and to support, the candidates of this political party.
Final question.
Coming the election. Yes.
Final question. Both yourself and the Meru governor, the incumbent, have vowed to bring the governorship to Tigania. Kiraitu Mwiria is from Ongeti, but he has a Tigania running mates. How will you not split the votes?
No. I don't think that's a problem. Right. I come from Tigania. The current governor comes from Tigania. We come from Nyambene. Kiraitu Mwiria comes from the Ongeti side. let's forget, it's just like a constituency.
All right.
Constituencies have locations, and you will have to vote for one person from some location. Sometimes one location will present several candidates. I am going to the Meru people not as a Mutigania, as a person from Nyambene. Oh. And I'll go asking for votes from across. And so we'll be Munya and Kiraito. And I think this should be the spirit. It is not splitting votes for anyone. It's competition.
All right.
And the people will decide. It may very well be that both Tiganians will be number 1 and 2.
All right.
Because the people will not be looking at you are Mutigania. They'll look at what you've got to offer.
All right.
And, your history.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on Checkpoint this evening. I've been speaking to Dr. Kilemi Mwiria, who is gunning for the governorship of the county of Meru on a Mandela Chap ticket, of course, in the forthcoming general election, and Dr. Walter Ongeti for joining us to put perspective into this. Many thanks for staying with us here on Checkpoint. When we return,